Well, hello there. I'm Mrs. McCormack, and today I'm going to teach you about our fabulous Faber Castell connector paint sets. These are pan watercolors, and that means that they're dry and we need to add water to activate them. They are a super awesome paint, and I'm so excited that you all get to use these this year in our Broken Ground art room. So first things first, let me show you how to open it. There are just two little rubber holders here, and you need to pull them just gently up. We don't want to pull too hard. We don't want them to break off and pop off our top. Ooh, look at this. This is awesome. This cover on the back side is called a palette, and this is what painters use to mix their colors. A painter doesn't want to mix their colors in the pans because then the pan will become a different color. Not good. What a painter wants to do is mix in a palette so we can still create all kinds of tones, tints, and shades and make beautiful hues of color that might not be in our box. So I'm going to teach you how to do that today, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to use this set. Now we're going to check out our brush. So if you haven't opened up your paint set yet, go ahead and pause this and take just a moment and go ahead and take out the brush. All right, so now we have our brush that comes in these connector paint sets. If yours has a little protective cap still on it, you can just take that off. We're not going to need that anymore. That was just to protect it getting here all the way from Germany. These are awesome German paintbrushes. I want to tell you a little bit about the parts of the brush. So it's important for artists to know the parts and words for those parts. This right here is called the handle of your brush. Our handles have a very nice comfort grip, so we know just where to hold them to make very detailed paintings. We don't want to hold them way up here. We won't have enough control. And we don't want to hold them way down here because we'll get messy paint all over our fingers and maybe on our painting too. So we'll hold it right on the comfort grip. Right down here are our bristles, and at the very end of the bristles, that is the toe of the brush. The tip right here is called the toe. And sometimes you will hear me say, let's make sure to keep your brush up on its tippy toes like a little ballerina. We don't want to squish down those bristles. You will get a masterpiece instead of a masterpiece, and you'll damage your brush too. So sad. So let's make sure that they always have a good hair day. Right here, this part of the brush, this metal part, is called the ferrule, and the ferrule has a very important job. It holds the bristles to the handle so that they don't come apart. So let's make sure that we always keep our grip on the comfort grip. Our ferrule should be empty and open and ready to work, and our brush should be up on its tippy toes. Now let's take a look at your paints. Now these connector pieces do come out, but remember, they're not a toy like Legos. I might have you pull them out sometimes to join them together. Maybe say identify all of the cool colors or the warm colors, but we'll be putting them back really carefully. You don't want these little tabs to break and have your set fall apart. But good news is, when one gets empty a few years down the road, we can buy you a new color to replace it. Now, these are watercolors, so you need to activate with the water. Notice I'm keeping the brush up on its tippy toes. She's swirling around like a ballerina until the tip of the brush shows the color of the paint. Now, if you go straight up on its tippy toes, you can make very thin lines. Press a little harder, you can get a thick line. You can even make all kinds of shapes. The more water you add, the lighter your color will be, and the less water you add, the darker it will be. Now I'm rinsing my brush in between colors so I don't contaminate one color with another on top. And I'm activating or waking up the blue paint, and I'll try filling in the green heart. Again, I'm up on the tippy toes, no booty scooting ballet here. But let's say you want to mix two colors. What if I want an orangey yellow? I don't want to mix them in the tray, I want to mix them on my paper. So here's what I do. Typically I take the lighter color first, activate it with that same swirling ballerina technique. No booty scooting and no bad hair days here. And I'm going to add my lighter color first. And then rather quickly, I'm going to rinse my brush to switch colors and get the next darker color. So I'm going to make my orangey yellow sun here. One thing I can do is dab it in, let it bleed and blend, or I can spread it and mix it a bit. I can even add more yellow if I wanted to. The choice is yours. Now, what if I went to go add more yellow and then I decided I needed more orange? Definitely rinsing, right? Ooh, I'm getting blue paint. I think I don't want this color to blend, so I will leave a little space between the wet portions, or I'll paint next to something that is already dried. So when you don't want your colors to bleed and blend, go to it. Oh my gosh, what's happened here? Mistakes happen. I got blue paint in my beautiful new connector yellow paint. Here's how to fix it. Rinse your brush, squeeze out all the water, and swoop, swish, and it will soak up that color while it's still wet. Quickly rinse your brush again, squeeze all the water out. It's a very dry brush to soak up all that oops like a sponge. Isn't that cool? But don't you wish we could actually do that when we're painting on paper? I mean, oh, I wish I could erase paint. I hate it when I make a mess up. So let's say I'm painting my purple mountains majesties on a landscape. And I rinse my brush and I get my blue paint and I start to paint the sky. But my mountains aren't dry yet. I'm being careful, but oops, I go over the edge and it bleeds through. Now I have blue on my purple mountains. If I don't like that, I can rinse the brush, squeeze out all the water, and you guessed it, I can absorb the paint. It does work like an eraser, as long as you work quickly and you don't let the paint dry. Again, rinse, squeeze, and absorb. You now know how to erase paint. It's almost all gone. Now I can just get my purple paint and do a quick little touch-up, and voila! We have our purple mountains back with no blue oops. This is a great time for me to also tell you another option that you have when you want to mix paints. As I said earlier, this is a palette. So what you can also do, and I'm going to show you sort of upright here so you can see the palette, is you can get your brush wet. You could even just add a little water to the palette. Remember, you're going to activate your paints ahead of time. So let's say I wanted to make that yellow-orange right here on the palette. I would activate my yellow paint just like before, and I'm going to put that paint in the palette. I might have to go back a couple times, get a little more water, get a little more paint. And again, I like to use my lightest color first, and then just add a bit of my darker color. You can see it kind of pooling up right there. All right, I'm going to rinse off my brush, get some orange paint, and I'm just going to add a bit of orange paint. And now you can see that beautiful yellowish orange that I'm creating in my palette. So this is good for when you want just a single color. So if I want to take and make a yellow-orange and create the whole sun, just that one even yellow-orange tone, this works really beautifully. And it's good too if I want to make a lot of one color and I don't want to run out. I could keep adding paint and water to this tray until I get quite a bit of paint in here so that I could paint an entire background of a picture even, or a whole sky, or a whole mountain. So this is a good technique to use too when you need more paint and you don't want to have those little variations in color. A lot of times I like the variations. It's sort of one of the fun things about watercolor, but if ever you just want that nice even tone and the color's not in your palette, this is the way to go. Mix it right up here and you won't ruin your paints. I had so much fun mixing paints with you today and trying out our new paint sets. What I would like you to do is continue for the rest of class. Try using your brush up on its tippy toes. Try making a thin line. Press a little harder and get a thick line. Remember, don't press too hard. Try mixing some colors in your palette. Try mixing some colors on your paper. Try out making a little oops and see if you can clean off the pan or erase the paint on your paper. These are all really fun techniques to do, and I hope you enjoy it. And one little bonus challenge, if you're up for it, it will prepare you for next art class. And don't worry, I'll go over this, but you could try to mix in your palette a color that looks similar to your skin color or your skin tone. If you could try doing that today, it'll get you set up for success for the next time. If you need a little help, let me know, and I'll give a full lesson on that in next art class. So for now, most important thing is to have fun, to take super duper awesome care of your new paints so that they will stay awesome all year and for all the people that use them, and to make sure at the end of class that you follow all the cleanup procedures and put things back where they came from. All right, have fun and happy painting.